each and every one of you who appreciate a great glass of wine. You know what I mean?
It's Monday. Let's raise a glass to the beginning of another week. It's time to unscrew, uncork, or saber a bottle, and let's begin exploring the wine glass. Today, I sit down with some wine writer friends and we discuss whether hyper-specific wine glasses are a necessity or a luxury. Last month, I read an article in Wine Enthusiast written by Kelly A. Magyarics titled, "Is Hyperspecific Wine Stemware Worth It?" As I was reading, I looked at the glasses in my china cabinet where I have loads of wine glasses that remain in the cabinet more than show up on my table, and I thought this is a great topic for a wine writer's wrap-up. While you're enjoying the conversation, please take a moment to scroll down to subscribe, rate, and review Exploring the Wine Glass. Slancha! Hey everybody, I'm Lori Budd, a UC Davis winemaking program, someday service, champagne specialist, and WSET Level 2 graduate. You can find Exploring the Wine Glass on all the socials as well as your favorite podcast catchers. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to swipe, subscribe, rate, and review. I promise I'll never tell you what to drink, but I'll always share what's in my glass. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wine Writers Wrap Up. I am so excited to be here today with my wine writing friends. And today we are going to be talking about wine glasses and whether we really do need a wine glass for every grape variety that we drink. Before we actually get into the conversation, let's introduce my wine writing friends. So Deb, you're up to my right first, so why don't you go first?
All right, I'm Debbie Giaquindo. I'm the Hudson Valley wine goddess, a wine blogger, wine writer, certified specialist of wine location specialist in port and champagne. I'm author of Tapping the Hudson Valley, day trips and weekend itineraries, visiting all the craft beverage producers in the Hudson Valley. And I just opened a restaurant in North Wildwood, New Jersey called Trio North Wildwood. And we are an outlet for Justina wines. So that's it. If I left anything out, well, oh well.
Alrighty, and next up, Michael.
So I guess we have to start by saying I'm a consumer of Dracaena wines, so that we got to keep giving you your plug here, Lori.
Oh well, thank you so much.
But I'm Michael Kelly. I write for California Wines and Wineries. I'm a wine judge. I put on the International Cab Franc Day competition, wine competition, and Lori Budd will be a guest speaker this year, hopefully in April. And those are just some of the things I'm involved with.
Yes, I actually am so excited to looking forward to talking about that. And I'm honored that I'm going to be speaking at your competition. Next up, Pam.
Hi, I'm Pam from Food and Wine Chronicles and also Vines Virginia, as well as Equal Pour. I'm a wine blogger, a food and wine writer. I have a website at the same handle as I just mentioned. I am a longtime admirer of Lori Budd and of her wines. And that is pretty much all I can say. I live in North Carolina currently, coming straight from Virginia, but born in California. So that is mine.
Gosh, you guys are like starting to make me blush over here. And last, John.
Hi, I'm John Taylor. By day, I am the Director of Consumer Marketing for Cultivar Wine and Casper Estate in the Napa Valley. And then beyond that, I'm a wine blogger and podcaster and writer, creator of the Pairs with Life wine blog and Pairs with Life podcast and the novel Pairs with Life. Shameless plug. Oh my God. I too am an enthusiast of Dracaena wines and will be brave saying that the Cab Franc is one of the top 3 made ever in the world. So, and I only put it in top 3 because I'm non-committal to everything. So everything is top 3 if it's really good. So there you go.
You guys are like all awesome. I didn't know this was going to be a Dracaena fest, but seriously, I'm not even going to have to put the promotional section in the center of this podcast because you guys are doing it all for me. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of the love.
Great to be here.
Before we actually get into the conversation, I have to ask the question, who's drinking and what are you drinking?
What am I drinking? I'm drinking a Sauve. And I
Oh.
took a picture of it because the bottle's downstairs.
Not
I
drinking.
took a picture of it.
Yeah, John and I are drinking water.
Yes, exactly. Too much work left to do tonight, and wine is always just like.
This is what I'm drinking.
Oh, that's awesome.
Pam, I saw you raise something earlier. What do you have tonight?
Some rosé.
So what's in the glass tonight is SR2, which is it's a effervescence. It's a bubbles rosé that
Nice.
I buy pretty frequently from the local wine shop, mostly to support them, but it does taste good. And so I try to keep it light during the weekdays. Try to keep it a little. It's really hard for me to sleep without a glass of wine.
All right, people, hold on to your seats because I'm drinking water.
Wow. Wow.
Water only. Actually, I've been dry for about a week now, going for the month, because at the end of June, we are going to Cancun and my liver is going to be going into overdrive. So I thought I'd give it a little break before we head down to Cancun.
Oh boy.
No way.
All right. So now that you are all back in your seats from falling over from shock, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're going to be talking about whether or not we actually do need hyperspecific wine glasses. And the topic came into mind because last week I got an article from Wine Enthusiast, and the title was very specific. Is hyperspecific wine stemware worth it? And I was like, wow, you know what? This is a great topic because I have a couple of views, and actually some of them are opposing views about whether or not we want to have these hyper-specific glasses for every variety we drink. And in the article, it mentioned that this pretty much is a phenomenon thanks to Klaus Riedel. So in the 1970s, Klaus Riedel decided, you know what, I'm going to start making stemware specific for grape varieties. And we're going to change the shapes of the bowls depending on what the grape is to allow the consumer to enjoy the wine better. So I ask you, do you guys have glassware that is specific for grape varieties?
Oh, wow. I have a number of wine glasses. Probably, if you ever follow me, you'll see them all over the place on various different things. I've been on chats and all kinds of wine events. I have some Salto glasses. I have some Riedel glasses. I have various different glasses, and I do tend to use them, but not for every day, to be honest with you. If I have some very specific types of wines that I think are real quality, for everyday drinkers, I use just what you see here. This is just a basic wine glass. I couldn't even tell you, to be honest with you, the brand name of this glass. What I can tell you is that I bought it on recommendation of someone on Instagram, and I bought it off of Amazon. They come 6, and they're somewhere around, I want to say somewhere between maybe $60 and $70 for 6 of them. So they're not tremendously expensive. But for everyday drinkers, that's what I use. I often have people gift me wines or send samples. And if I think that they're quality wines, I want to try to get the best impression of the wine. So I will tend to use some of what I believe is the better quality glasses to give those wines a fair shot at the flavors and what I experience. So when I write about them, because I do believe that the wine glasses make a difference.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I pretty much have a basic coverage. I have Cabernet glasses and Pinot Noir glasses, both Riedel. And then I have almost exactly what Pam has in terms of a basic sort of utilitarian white wine glass that could also take red wine, but I typically serve white wine in it because they're beautiful and they're a little different. I also have some other white wine glasses that are more of the standard Chardonnay glasses that with the rounded bottom and not so much that I don't know, like almost hexagonal thing that's happening there. And The truth of the matter is that I really only break those glasses out when my snobby friends come over and they expect, the red wine in the red wine glass and the white wine in the white wine glass. But for all intents and purposes, for myself, I pretty much use my Pinot Noir glass as an everyday glass. I love that. I love the shape. I love the way every wine smells in there. I want a lot of aeration in the glass that I use, and that does the trick. I do own champagne flutes, but I'm moving away from serving champagne and champagne flutes, even to my snooty friends, and using more of the standard white wine glass for champagne. But that's it. That's all I've got. Yeah,
I have the Riedel glasses, both stemless and stems, that fit to, whatever the wine, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet, Pinot Noir, and I have the Riedel champagne glasses, which are nice because they're regular, almost wine glasses, and I'll use that for white wine too. But for every day, this is what I just have. This actually somebody gave me. It says, "Girls just want to have fun." Because, like you, John, I'll break it out if I'm opening a really good bottle of Pinot Noir or Cab. I will get the good glasses out, or my snobby friends come over. But I don't have many snobby friends. But and I find the reason why I more or less use this every day, because I can throw these in the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Riedel ones, you have to wash the next day, because if you wash them that night, you're going to break them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Great point.
yeah.
Great point.
So I only break them out, with the good wine.
So when the topic came up, I actually went to the wine, I don't know what you want to call it, wine bar area in the hallway, and decided to do an actual count of how many glasses were in there. And I stopped at a little over 60.
Oh boy.
And we also, when we moved a few years back up here, we gave away, I asked Susan, my wife, how many we gave away, and she said, well over 50.
Holy cow.
And that doesn't include the plastic glasses that we use on the deck or the patio for, what I call casual, which we had some people over last night, for example, with just casual, because with dogs, I don't want glass breaking out on the patio.
Mm-hmm.
So we use a thin edged plastic glass. But almost everything we have is Riedel, after going through the Riedel tasting and becoming a believer. In other words, I bought hook, line, and sinker, the whole Riedel concept of, so I was a great consumer. And I've actually had Riedel come both to this wine society up here and to a wine society down in the Bay Area when we were in the doing this, because I was such a believer in doing it. And we also have Coke Riedel glasses, Coca-Cola Riedel. Yeah,
do you put Pepsi in your Coke glasses?
Oh my God, Deb, this is why we are such good friends. That's exactly what I was going to ask. You just beat me to the punch.
No, my wife would rather take her life than drink Pepsi. That's just so we really, and there's every shape, whether it's Sauv Blanc, it's Chardonnay, it's Pinot, it's Cabernet, and we have various different sizes of even Cabernets in the Riedels. The XL, the regular, and these ones that I swear you can put a bottle in and they're Riedel. But yeah, but we never use them. But for everyday glasses, we actually use the Riedel glasses for every day, whether it's for because when I take pictures of the wine and with food pairings, I want the wine to show in the right glass. So, and I basically post every day, at least during the week. So I always have something out there. So tonight we're barbecuing tri-tip. So it will be we'll have a Cabernet, and it will be in a Cabernet glass.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we all do have glassware that is for specific varietals. Definitely some positives to them.
You get the expression of the grape. You get
Exactly.
the expression of the wine. It's all muted in
champagne flute, it's
it.
yeah.
I will say my least favorite for champagne is a coupe. I've tried it. I just cannot. I don't understand. Maybe you can elaborate, because I've tried it many times with many different things, and I'm like, why do we have this?
Yeah, the coupe really is an outdated glass. I think if you think about why we still use the coupe, I think it's just something in terms of a tradition. Think the Great Gatsby back in the Roaring 20s, they're all dancing and they're holding the coupe with champagne in it and they're drinking. And, they do make fantastic champagne towers using the coupe. Can't do that with any other glass, at least not as well. But there is actually science to why a flute doesn't really work well, and also why the coupe no longer, doesn't work well either. So I'm going to have a picture for you guys. I actually found one that demonstrates what's happening in the glass with that effervescence, with those bubbles. And I absolutely love this image.
Okay, good.
Oh, wow. Here we go.
What you're looking at is an image of infrared, and it's looking at a time span of what happens to the bubbles when the sparkling wine is sitting in the wine glass. So the flute, you can see that there's a lot of effervescence and it kind of hangs on for quite some time. And then the coupe, because of the wide mouth that it is, the bubbles come really quickly up and it dissipates a lot faster. So you lose the bubbles. So basically what happens is if you're drinking out of a flute, you're going to get more bubbles for a longer period of time, but less aroma. And if you're drinking out of the coupe, you're going to get less bubbles, but more aromas.
I have a couple of tulip glasses that I think work really good for bubbles. They look kind of like tulips, and I think they work really well. They kind of they're a combination of sort of both, I think.
Tulip is my favorite also.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of Cabernet Sauvignon Riedel glasses, and to be fair, I think for me at least, they do make a bit of a difference. I have the Pinot glasses too. I have a couple of Zolto glasses. I haven't. Interesting, you should say. So now I want to try, because I have a Cabernet Sauvignon Zolto glass and one from Riedel as well. So I'm interested to see. So I'll probably try that tomorrow, like I need to. But just off of this, to be honest with you, I really am. I haven't ever compared the two, because I typically will pour it into that huge Riedel glass. But I think to be honest, in my opinion, it does make a difference. I have tried them in various different glasses, and I will say that I've tried them in just this standard type of glass. I've tried them in stemless and other things, and I've also had a few tastings with other bloggers and friends, just because they were very skeptical when I said it really makes a difference. They were very skeptical and was like, that's impossible. So I have had a few tastings with just wine friends, and they found a huge difference. So in my opinion, I think depends on what you're drinking. I think whites, I have a couple of different types, but I like pretty glasses. I have a problem with that too. So if I'm drinking to take a picture, if I'm doing, like he said, if I'm trying to get a really nice photograph, I think that white, if you have a decent glass, it's probably going to taste pretty good, especially if it's really chilled. Some of the whites that don't need to be chilled as much, maybe you don't need that. So that's kind of my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
I think there is a difference when you take just a regular wine glass and say a Riedel specific wine glass, because I've done that before, and the aromas are much better in the Riedel than they are in just a regular wine glass, and it brings out different flavors as well. But I think for every day you have to decide what do you want to bring out the expensive ones? Do you want to risk the breakage?
Right.
But,
yeah, we break Riedels like changing toilet paper. It seems like.
Oh, Lord.
You can imagine. I'm just kidding. Has everybody gone through the Riedel tasting?
I
No.
have.
No.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so I gave the presentation, or I didn't give it, but I had the people come up and do the presentation up here, and I said, "This is the most fun you'll ever have with wine, with your clothes on." and everybody goes, "That's the introduction?" I said, "Yes." So I said, and I turned it loose to the Riedel rep to go through it, and in the end, everybody just thought it was the most amazing thing. We had 60 people participating in it, and when you taste it, when you taste a Chardonnay in a Sauv Blanc glass, in a water glass, in a Cabernet glass, and and then you come back, and all of a sudden you get the Chardonnay in a Chardonnay glass. That wine tastes so good and smells so good that, it just made me, again, I thought the first time, maybe I was duped, the first time during the presentation. But I'm a big believer in having the actual glass. So no matter what we open every evening, the only problem is, they don't make a glass for, Nebbiolo, or they don't make a glass for, this and that. So when I go to the cellar to pick out a wine, I have to then try to think about what the aroma is going to be, and then try to match it to one of the glasses.
That's a good idea.
That's right.
You might, I want to interject something just a little bit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take your time. I just wanted to say I'm always curious about and I understand that there's breakage in the tasting rooms, but honestly, most of the time the glasses they use don't do their wines any justice. I think it makes a difference.
It's an interesting thing because having worked in several tasting rooms, there's this cost benefit analysis that goes into the whole thing, because you're breaking glasses every day. And so if you're using really nice Riedel glasses, that adds up over time. And there were a couple of places I worked where we insisted on Riedel glasses, and please please do your best not to break the glasses.
But would you sell more wine if you were using them?
Yeah, and again, Napa, very much of a cab area, so it was very standard to use Riedel Cabernet glasses. But for the white wines, we almost never differentiated. There wasn't a Sauv Blanc glass and a Chardonnay glass or anything like that. It was just the standard white wine glass. And in one place I worked, we had a really nice Pinot, so we did differentiate. We got a Pinot and a Cabernet. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough balance, between the number of glasses that are broken and stolen. Everyone steals.
Okay, I understand the steal.
Everyone steals glasses. It's just, and you.
What? I bet the number of glasses that have been stolen has now increased since everything is outside, because I think it's a bit easier to stick a glass in your bag when you're outside versus when you're all huddled up at a tasting bar inside.
Oh, yeah.
A
couple of tastes in you, and people just have gall out the wazoo, and you see these people. Cabernet glass is like, it's like this tall. And you see them trying to shove it into a furnace. You're like, I see you doing this.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Well, it's so Stephen Kent, Stephen Marisu from Lineage and Stephen Kent Winery, he only uses Lineage, he only uses Riedel for his Lineage line. And that is a great glass to showcase a $175 bottle of wine.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So
when you charge $175 for a bottle of Cabernet Franc, I guess you should have pretty expensive glasses, and you're not concerned about them breaking.
Yeah.
If you're serving them.
But I'll tell you, I have the expensive Riedel cab glasses, and they're so thin.
They are.
When I wash them, I'm scared. Even when I'm, the next day, I'm scared I'm going to break them.
I wash mine by hand. Those ones I wash by hand. I do have some, like the Pinot Noir glasses. They actually do, the Riedel ones, they actually hold up very well in the dishwasher on the top level though. The Zoltos, I don't even bother to try to put them in the dishwasher. I handle them as less as possible because they're so paper thin. And unless I'm having something really nice like others, I don't even pull those out because most people don't. They're scared to touch them because the stems are so thin. They're like, what in the world? Can I just get a regular glass?
That's like another thought of this whole hypersensitive glassware. I don't understand the concept, right? We all agree that the bowl size matters and the shape of the bowl matters to determine which aromas we're getting, determining, depending on what the grape variety is. But what does the stem have to do with anything? Why do they keep making these glasses super, super thin? It seems like the more expensive the glass, the thinner the stem, which just means they're going to break easier.
Babe, I need more wine in this glass. This is going to be a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I meant to shut the sound off.
You shut your video off.
That is just way too funny.
I am so sorry. I'm upstairs. He's downstairs, so I can't get to it.
Pam, I am sorry, but I am not even editing that out because that is just too hysterical to edit out. It has got to stay in there.
It's all part of the package.
Yeah, it feels purely aesthetic to me. I don't know if there's any purpose to it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, so I was at I just 2 weeks ago, I was at the Foothill Wine Festival for the wineries in the Sierra Foothills. And they originally had glasses. Well, they brought in Riedel glasses for all the judges. So we tasted Riedel glass. We were able to taste all the 397 wines using Riedel glasses, which made, I think, a significant difference compared to some of the other contests and events that I go to. And I was very appreciative of that fact. And the stems were not that thin. So Riedel makes some. I have some. Again, we literally wash our glasses every morning. That's just a ritual. Feed the dogs, wash the wine glasses. That's just kind of the routine. And I was washing the Chardonnay glass this morning, and it was like a pencil lead. The stem, it was so thin. On the newer ones, the older ones were a little bit thicker, but the Cabernet seemed to be a little bit thicker and not as fragile. But the Chardonnay, I was absolutely convinced I was going to break it this morning.
Leads me to my next question. What are your thoughts on stemless glasses?
Well, like Debbie, I use stemless a lot at home. Easy to clean, easy to not tip over. I have kids, running into everything. So it's a lot, you stand a lot better chance of keeping your wine in the glass with a stemless glass. But I think that the most obvious benefit of having a glass with a stem is that you can hold it by the stem and you're not heating up the wine with your hand. And it's also, especially, from a swirling standpoint, you get your swirl on with the stem, so it just keeps the glass from heating your hand. So again, with a great dinner, I'm going to go with the stems because, we're pulling out all the stops. Or if I'm tasting something for the first time, I'm going to go with the stem. But for everyday drinking, stemless is fine.
You're drinking out of a stemless glass right now, so obviously you don't have any issues with it. What are your thoughts about them?
Well, stemless, here I have a stemless glass, and I kind of agree, with John on the whole stem and the swirling and getting it warm. Especially, I'm drinking a white wine. It's going to warm up. But for everyday drinking, for what we're doing, I will use a stemless. If I'm breaking out a good bottle or company, I go with the stems. I personally like the stems better, but just for every day, the stemless works.
John and Debbie, you talked about the concept of the warming of the glass, but the other thing is, typically those of us who use stemless, we are aware of the warming of the wine. So when we swirl, we kind of hold it up higher where the liquid itself isn't. But the other thing is that, on our hands, we have oils, fingerprints, our oils. That's how the CSI people can track us down when we do those crimes. So you're putting oils and your hands have aromas on them. And I'm not talking about like you just finished, handling raw fish or whatever. Just you have natural aromas, odors on your hands, and they are maintained in that oil. So when you hold that glass that high at the top so that you're not warming the wine itself, as you bring that glass up to your nose, you potentially can be inhibiting the aromas of the wine by the aromas in the oils in your hands. You're chomping at the bit over there. What's your opinion?
A double negative. One of the things, we had several sets of stemless before we moved up here, and those they are in some Goodwill box somewhere. We got rid of anything. There's not a stemless glass in the house.
How about you? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I'm going to say middle ground for me. And I'm going to pick. I know I can't pick it, but let me be fair and share why. I think that stemless is okay in some instances, and even plastic. When you go to the beach and things like that, plastic is fine. I think for me, stemless works depending on what is going on. Like she said, if you have, I tend to cook a lot, and it depends on my meal, to be honest with you, if I'm pairing some wine with that. If I'm having pizza, you're getting a stemless glass because I already know what's going on, burritos, things like that. Now, if I'm cooking a more extravagant meal, of course you want the look of your table to pair with what you have going on and the event you have going on. And these, it just depends. Like the Schatzweisel that I just showed you guys, that's a very durable glass. So I'm not worried about anybody really breaking that glass very easily. It doesn't maybe give you all of the nuances that you would get in maybe a better quality glass, but things still taste really good out of it. I've actually even tasted red wine out of it, and it hasn't really affected the flavors too much. It's very sturdy. It's dishwasher acceptable. I bought 6. I still have 6. Now I will say, I have bought some more expensive, thinner brands of glass, and that were not tremendously expensive, to be honest with you, but were expensive enough where you don't want to be. And I probably have, for those particular ones, I want to say I have maybe 3 left. They're sort of middle of the ground. So I think for me, just because I do a lot of food and wine together, depending on what I'm cooking, it can have an effect on which glass that I use. But if I'm just doing a tasting and I really want people to be fair with the nuances of the wines, then I'll pick glasses that pair up with the style of the wine or the varietal of the wine that I'm using. But for every day, I usually will use just what I just showed you. I don't mind a stemless glass, but it's going to be a very casual affair.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Looking to be in the know about Dracaena wines? Want to be the first to know about our new releases and special offers? All you need to do is sign up for our newsletter. There is no commitment necessary, and I promise you we won't spam your mailbox with loads of messages. Need another reason to sign up? Quite possibly the best reason? You'll immediately get a discount code for 10% off your first purchase and be privy to newsletter-only discounts. Let Dracaena Wines turn your moments into great memories. Visit our website, www.dracaenawines.com, or use the link in show notes to sign up. It will take you less than a minute, but the rewards will last a lifetime.
Can I also mention that stemless sometimes can, it's about your experience. I've been in restaurants, honestly, where the stemless glasses, and I don't know why they do it, but I've seen them do it with water glasses as well. They put their fingers, they'll have 3 glasses, and they'll bring these wine glasses with their fingers, 1 finger in each glass.
To your table?
There's no stem. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God.
Because there's no stem. So typically,
no, they need to take a tray and bring them to you.
If there is a restaurant that doesn't have stems, I won't even order one because they come to you, and of course, this is my glass and it's stem, but they'll come to you with one finger in each glass like this.
Poor
And it's
training
like,
on
oh
your
no,
staff.
sir. Yeah, so
Poor training.
you know, so I think too, you have to consider, you know, it's like, okay, and these are these are decent restaurants. Like they have, you know, quality food, but I guess they don't have quality. I don't know. It's just weird. So
Training.
that kind of turns me off from
They didn't
stemless
they didn't train their staff how to carry the wine glasses to the table.
Right.
That did not happen in my restaurant.
Yeah, and I've seen them bring water like that too. And my husband goes to drink the water. I'm like, no, you don't. You can just put that back down. If you're not drinking that, he had his finger in it.
So here's a little anecdotal story. I think you all know Janice Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, Master Somm of 2018 or whatever it was that she was Master Somm. So I had done some PowerPoint presentations and sent it to her and helped her out on a presentation a couple of times. And she said, well, Michael, I'm going to send you some glasses. I said, please don't. You know, don't send me glasses. But I also have my own line of glasses. I really want you to, you know, I said, no, do me a favor. Don't. I said, I'm just happy to do this for you. Don't send me glasses. And she goes, well, what do you want? I said, I don't want anything, right? But definitely I don't want glasses.
Here's a question for you. Do you guys know why crystal makes for a better glass when it comes to sparkling wines?
I don't.
I do not.
I would say that I don't, but I was going to say I'm thinking because crystal doesn't have the various leads in it, maybe.
So, you know, Pam, that actually may be true in terms of why crystal is better for wine all around. But it doesn't play a role in the fact with sparkling wine. So why crystal is so great for sparkling wine is because even though it's so crystal clear, as they say, it actually has more imperfections in it than cheaper glass. And in order to have those bubbles form in the glass, you need to have imperfections. That's what allows those bubbles to be created and allow them to grow, you know, go up on the surface that we love to watch as they rise through the glass. So crystal has all of these little micro bumps in there, and they allow more bubbles to appear. And that is what everybody loves looking at when it comes to sparkling wine.
Interesting.
Wow. That's great. Yay, science.
Interesting.
Interesting.
That is
Very interesting.
Does it change the color? Do you think it changes the color, or is the clarity just more intense?
Color, what are you talking about in terms of color, the glass or the wine?
The wine.
Oh, the wine. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're through the crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good science experiment. You take the same wine, take that same Cabernet that you're going to drink, Michael, and pour it into a crystal glass and a non-crystal glass and see if the color of the wine varies. I would guess it probably could, but I'm not so sure that our eyes can actually detect that difference. You know, I don't think it's a major difference. It's probably minuscule, and maybe a computer can recognize the difference, but I'm not sure our eyes are capable of that.
Deviate that. Yeah.
Okay. Note to self.
Yeah.
And then tell us, Michael, what you find out, because I'm interested.
Yeah. And I'll try to do it. I'll dig out and find something that's not reedle, but most of it's reedle. But I'll find something that's not reedle and see the same shape glass and see what the color differentiation is. And maybe I can even find a spectrum to look at what the colors are.
Interesting.
Just make sure there's just one variable, because, you know, as the scientist, it drives me crazy when people try to do an experiment and there's multiple variables. Then you have no idea what is the difference, right? So has to be the same wine, has to be same size glass, everything's got to be the same. Just the only difference should be the crystal versus the non-crystal.
That's the same thing they said about my marriage.
Oh, Lord.
So since we're all kind of agreeing that, yes, there is a benefit to having these hyper-specific wine glasses, do you think that this adds to the eliteness factor of wine? Is it increasing the look of snobbery of wine lovers?
I'm going to say that because I have friends at every level, friends that drink wine just for fun, friends that drink wine for work, friends that are really into wine. And I'm going to say that I think that's a fair assumption. I think that anytime there is a lack of education with anyone, they're going to be apprehensive when there is a group of people that are being very wine specific. And what I mean by that is that I've held those types of tastings. Like I said, I've held those where there was an array of wine lovers, wine enthusiasts, wine professionals, whatever you want to call them, very apprehensive to explore wine because they're like, well, see, this is the type of thing I'm talking about when we have these tastings. And I say, well, let's taste the various different glasses and see what you guys think. And so, unfortunately, that can be bad or good. And what I mean by that is that when you do those types of tastings, then these people think that when they go somewhere, restaurant, or be it otherwise, and a restaurant, we all know that restaurants are going to serve you in their standard wine glass. Most of the time, it doesn't matter whether it's a red wine or white wine. You're going to get the same glass. Some of them have better glasses than others, depending on where you go. They become very apprehensive because they're like, well, I don't really, that glass, and then they'll taste the wine and have a preconceived notion of what they think it should taste like just based on the glass they're served in. Fair? Me too. We went to a seafood restaurant the other day. They have awesome seafood. Asked for a glass of wine. I don't know where they got these glasses. I don't know why they serve wine in these glasses. But when I saw the glass, in my mind, I knew that wine was not going to taste good. Now, did it taste good because it wasn't good, or did it taste good because of the glass? Who knows? But I think, to be honest and to be fair, and from my experience, that yes, there's too much going on sometimes in the wine world, and people are like, you know what? Gin and tonic, because I don't care what you put it in. It's still going to taste like gin and tonic.
Mike and I have refused to go back to restaurants simply based on what their wine glasses are at the restaurant. You get those little things, and you can't even taste any of the wine that you're pouring. So yeah, we won't go back to restaurants if they have certain wine glasses.
Well, I'm glad to know it's not just me.
No, not just you.
Right. And then they have this thick stem that looks like it's crystal, but it's really not. And you see them everywhere. I always say, I call them wedding rentals. That's what I call them. I'm like, those are the wedding rental wine glasses. If you go rent wine glasses from any type of event center and you say, I need 24 wine glasses, they're going to give you 2 cases of these. And that's because most people that aren't real true wine drinkers at a wedding, they don't care what you put it in because they're only going to use it to do the toast anyway.
I think it can be intimidating. I think, people will, they might feel intimidated because, oh my God, now I have this beautiful wine, wine glass. What's going in there has to be equally as good. So then you come off and, to me, it's, if you like it, it's good, So I think it can be, and I don't think people should be intimidated by the glass that they're served in.
Yeah. So I was in Debbie, I told you I was on a board at Princeton, New Jersey. And the guy that we would stay with, and we'd go out for dinner every night for a week, he would actually take bottles of wine from the cellar, but he would also pack his own. He had a packaging to bring his own wine glasses to the restaurant with the 2 or 3 different wines that we were going to have. And that seemed a little over the top, even to me. I could see bringing one, but he would bring 3 different glasses for 4 wines that he was going to have at the dinner party every evening. And he was a big Riedel fan too. But it seemed that would be a little intimidating to the table next to you.
That's a true movement. Why go out to dinner?
Yeah. And then packing them back up afterwards. So, I mean, literally we'd walk in with, a big satchel of glasses and a big satchel of wine. and then have to put it, and then kind of use a napkin to dry them out a little bit, and then put them back in. Then we go back to his house, and again in the morning we were washing the glasses again.
Yeah, I think that basically any element like this is going to at least add to the appearance, that wine is an elitist behavior, and but when you get into something this specific, you're really only dealing with people like ourselves who are really into wine and are really trying to optimize the experience, and really looking for how to make the whole tasting experience a better thing. And so I don't think it affects sort of the beginner, the entry level wine person as much, because they won't be put into that experience, right off the bat of, hey, there's 6 different wine glasses in front of you, and here's 6 different wines. It usually starts, at a casual dinner party where it's like, hey, try this with the steak, and let me tell you, like when I'm introducing friends to wine. The big thing for me is just pouring 2 glasses side by side, and like, here's, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing here, but I put the Barefoot Cabernet in one glass, and you put the Napa Valley Cabernet in the other glass. And like, just which one do you prefer? Which one do you like more? And the glass itself doesn't matter. The smelling, the tasting, the process, all of that doesn't matter. It's just which one do you like more. And 90% of the time,
John, we all know that secretly you're wishing that they like the cheaper wine better, so that you have more of the more expensive, better wine for yourself.
Oh, what have I done? So the introductory phase of wine doesn't typically have multiple different kinds of wine glasses, but certainly it would definitely be intimidating if it was introduced to you that way. But it's like it's like having a hot rod car. You're fine tuning that thing and making it better and better and better and better all along. But you typically start off with a Nissan Versa. So yeah.
Well, I would say that, just piggybacking off of what John said, fairness, and I'm glad he mentioned that, because a lot of, like, for instance, my friends, they honestly, some of them, when I introduced them, because I did introduce them to maybe the better, finer aspects of wine. We would have wine tasting, and I say everybody needs to bring their own glass initially, because there'd be so many. Like, I'm not washing all these glasses. And they would bring glasses with stockings on them, and glasses that said wine ho, and just all kinds of weird things. I'm sorry. Should I have said that? I'm sorry, you guys. But I'm saying, you've seen those glasses where they're just all painted up and decorated, and things like that. Now we all know that these are just fun glasses, and I have a few. For some reason, people think they're great gifts for me. But I don't never turn down a gift from a friend, and they're all in my wine room. But they have things like that. And so, like John was saying, initially everyone starts somewhere, and there's a learning process. So like he said, you start with the standard things, and as the process goes on, you learn more and more, and you kind of learn that, okay, well, wine glasses factor into this. But I think ultimately, to be fair, is that there is a little bit eliteness in the industry when it comes to that type of thing, because some of that, there's a little appeal to that. When people realize there's more to this than just drinking wine to drink it, there's more than Barefoot, there's more than, these types of wines. There is a little bit more that goes with it. I think some people, that is what they seek. So kudos to you, John, because I think you're right.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So if we'll get some people over here who, neighbors, or that may not be necessarily into wine or part of the wine society, and we'll pour a glass of wine. They go, well, what's the difference of wine glasses? And I said, well, here. So we'll take out maybe just 3 glasses, 3 different size and shaped glasses, and pour the same wine into them. and you tell me which taste this. Now we don't do barefoot, but we do, the same wine in each of the glasses, and just say, what do you think tastes best? And they go, well, I kind of like, if it was a Cab or a Pinot in the Pinot glass, or the Cab in the Cab glass. And it's amazing. I would say that even the uninitiated or unsophisticated wine drinker, 90% will choose the right glass.
Oh, that's interesting.
With the right wine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we all are the people who others come to ask them what wines they should buy or what glasses they should buy.
Well, you're lucky because they ask you what to buy. They just ask me if they can borrow mine. To be fair, it depends on who it is. But a lot of times people will say, "Hey, can I borrow your wine glasses?" And I have often, I have so many, and I've collected. I've been doing this for more than a decade. So I've been gifted wine glasses. I've bought plenty of my share, to be really honest with you. And so I don't mind sharing if it makes someone's experience whatever it is they want it to be, and they don't want to purchase, because they can get pretty pricey. So if they're having a small dinner party or something like that with 6 or 10 folks, I don't mind lending. I really don't.
I don't mind lending, but I'll be honest and say what I lend, the tiers of quality of what I lend depend on who is asking to borrow them.
Yeah. Either do I go to the kitchen or do I go to the living room?
Well, a lot of times they'll tell me what they want, to be honest. I have so many, and I don't know why I keep them. I think just because I think it's fair to keep them for just everyday basics. I have a lot of, you wouldn't believe the amount of wine glasses I have from the various wineries I visited over the last decade. And so I keep those wine glasses, and sometimes they're just like, I don't care what you give me, I just need enough wine glasses. But in other times, they may be doing something super special, and those glasses could be a bit pricey. And they usually take very good care of them. People are very caring, and I think at the end of the day, what I try to remember, for me at least, is wine is about sharing. And I think that, you establish some really good relationships, and and I think that goes along with somehow that intertwines to me. If someone comes to me and a friend, and says, I'm going to have this really cool wine event. Now the wine glasses aren't usually all they ask me for, unfortunately, but but I don't mind, if this gets the word out, if this helps for those guests of theirs to be able to connect with the wine world a little bit more. I guess I think of it differently than most people. It's, wine glasses are replaceable, friendships and these types of situations, and what they're trying to accomplish is not.
Well, I lost wine glasses when I moved. Rito actually makes everyday wine glasses as well. And I had a whole set of those in the different shapes. And since I was on the road at the time with my wine brand a lot, going back and forth from New York to New Jersey, I was not home to pack up the house. Plus, I didn't want to move, but that's a whole nother topic. My son got them all.
So we are approaching the hour mark. So you all know what that means. That means it's riddle time. So everybody's ready? Michael, you have your pencil and pen ready? All right, here we go. A woman first shoots her husband, then holds him underwater for 5 minutes. She then proceeds to hang him. They then go out to dinner together. Explain how.
Wait, read that again, please.
A woman first shoots her husband, then holds him underwater for 5 minutes. She then proceeds to hang him. They then go out to dinner together. Explain how.
It's a blow-up doll.
Oh my God, Debbie, no.
I was going to say he has to not be real.
He's a photographer. He took the picture and then put it in the chemicals, hung it up, and went out there.
Yes, good job, John. Photographer. Excellent.
Gotcha.
You cheated. You already knew the answer to that, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I had it struck me first, and then I had to figure out the underwater. I'm like, 5 minutes underwater. Wait.
Because I was trying to think, I was thinking, okay, if she shoots him, but he's still alive, there's something else. Yeah, I was like, she didn't actually shoot him with a gun. What did she shoot him with?
And I was thinking diabetic.
Not a bad choice. Not you know what?
Wife, but
That's hilarious.
So this is the final wrap-up time. You're each going to get a minute or so to tell us something about yourselves, what you're into, what's going on, or where people can find you on social media. John, you're up first.
Well, thanks for having me. Again, this is always fun, and I really appreciate being here. And I thinking about this whole conversation, I just think the Riedel people are marketing geniuses to have, we need glasses for every wine. And, I really want to take the Riedel tasting that Michael has had because, I was skeptical going in, but, try to stay a super open-minded person, and I would love to check it out and see, how that goes. So, and then, once again, for the shameless self-promotion, my book is now out on hardcover, so you can pick it up anywhere online.
If I order that, can you sign it?
I absolutely can. Yes, I will for sure. And what's really exciting is that with COVID coming to a kind of an end here, I can actually go and get these in bookstores. And so the publisher is now making a push for bookstores, and I'll go on a book tour and do all the normal things that the person's supposed to do when their book is released. So looking forward to that. Oh, you can find me on Instagram at Pairs with Life, on Facebook /Pairs with Life, and on Twitter at JATauthor.
Michael, you're up next.
Yes, you can find me at Mount Shasta drinking geyser water. The best place to find me, rather than going through all of them, is just https //CaliforniaWinesAndWineries.com. And but I do publish to 65 blogs, and I put out my own all social media and all that. But California Wines and Wineries, you'll find me somewhere, one way or another.
How about you? Tell us where people can find you.
So you can find me again at www.foodandwinechronicles.com. But as far as social media goes, I'm also on Instagram and Facebook at Food and Wine Chronicles, and on Twitter, I am at FW Chronicles. And so, if you want to locate me, you can locate me through any of those. I am not opposed to DMs. I know people don't like you sliding into theirs, but you can slide into mine all day.
And Debbie.
Okay, I'm going to do self-promotion too. I got my book.
Yay!
Yay!
Tapping the Hudson Valley. But you can find me at HudsonValleyWineGoddess.com, and I'm Hudson Valley Wine Goddess on Facebook, and HV Wine Goddess on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm Lori. You can find me all over the socials at Dracena Wines for the winery. If you're heading to Paso, be sure to head to the website and schedule a private tasting. We'd love to pour for you in the vineyard. And for everything for the blog and podcast, you can find me on all the social media channels as Exploring the Wine Glass. So thank you everybody for joining me tonight. It was a great conversation. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I look forward to the next Wine Writers wrap up with you guys. And hopefully in the near future, we will be able to be clinking together. Have a great night.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you so much, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
This was actually very interesting. I've been to a few different ones, but yours was very good. I'm always a supporter for you. I think that you're very special in the wine world, and this was a great opportunity that I've been to. Like I said, I've been to many of these situations where people want to talk about wine glassings, but I think that you had the most informative one that I've been at. So I'm hoping that people will watch this and support Lori, because she really is, a standout when she wants to get out there and be one. So thank you so much for the invite. I appreciate it.
Pam, thank you so much. Those are such kind words, and they mean so much to me. It really is wonderful to hear that, and I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah.
I want to thank you all again, and I want to wish you all a wonderful night and a fantastic week.
All right.
Thank you, Lori.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Give me the red.
This has been another episode of Exploring the Wine Glass. Thanks for listening. If you have suggestions on what topics you would like me to discuss, please reach out on social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as Exploring the Wine Glass. I am also on LinkedIn as Lori Hoytbud. Of course, you can always email me at exploringthewineglass@gmail.com. If you enjoyed what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe to help others find me more easily. And most importantly, tell your wine-loving friends, because if you like the podcast, they will too. Music is Wine by Kevens. Until next week, Sláinte.
Turn right into wine, so you and I can feel the